Hello, Simmers. This is your captain speaking, and this is the third of four uh, videos discussing Pilot2ATC. In the previous videos, we introduced Pilot2ATC and went over the interface to some degree. And then in the second video, we created the flight plan that you see on the screen before you now. In this video, we will jump into the cockpit of a Kodiak 100 and program the GPS to put a route in the GPS that matches the route that is in Pilot2ATC. Unfortunately, if you simply save the route off to your hard drive or export it to the hard drive and then load up the plan that Pilot2ATC saves, the route will not be exactly the same, or at least most of the time the route will differ in some ways from the route that Pilot2ATC has created. So it's necessary if you want to have a route in the simulator to match the Pilot2ATC, then it's necessary to go in and program that yourself within the cockpit of the airplane. And by doing so, you'll have the most luck of getting matching routes in both Pilot2ATC and the simulator's GPS. Now, there are some prerequisites that you need. We mentioned this in the first video in order to do this. And basically the prerequisites are that you need to have matching data in Pilot2ATC and in the simulator. And unfortunately, the default ARAC cycle in Pilot2ATC does not match the ARAC cycle that's in Pilot2ATC or that's in the simulator. So let's see, I'm sorry, it does not match what's in the simulator. So you've got to do some work and maybe spend a little bit of money in order to get them to match up. And the way that you do this is by getting a subscription to Navigraph data. With a subscription to Navigraph data, you'll get a program, Navigraph FMS Data Manager, that will allow you to update the data in your add-on software, like I have here for I can update FSI panel, little nav map, Pilot2ATC, and SimToolkit Pro. And it also updates automatically, apparently, the data in the simulator, so that now you can have data in all of these applications and they all match with one another. If you don't have that, then the waypoints and the SIDS and the stars will not match exactly from one update to the next. And so having something like Navigraph, having Navigraph will help you to keep those in sync. Now, if you don't want to have a subscription to Navigraph and you want to do this in the least expensive way, then you could just go for the shortest, take the shortest subscription that you can get of Navigraph data, update your applications with the data that you can get within that subscription, and then just keep them at that level after your subscription lapses. So you can do it that way. But it is nice to have the data as close to real as possible. So you'll have to determine for yourself whether the cost for a subscription, an ongoing subscription, is of value to you. But you can see here that the current cycle, ERIC cycle, is 2201, which means this cycle was updated in the year of 2022 and the month of January. It's revision 1 because it's the first revision of the month. The next ERIC cycle could be 2201 revision 2 if they come up with another revision during the month of January, although it's already February, so obviously that's not going to happen. So I would suspect that this number is going to increase. 2201, 2202 if one comes out in February, or it could come out later than that and be a different number there. But that is where we're at this point. And so if you have a different experience doing the things that I'm doing, it might be because you're on a different ERIC cycle than what I'm using here at this point. Another prerequisite, you might be able to get away without this, but it's almost essential, I would say, that you have the updated G1000 module in the simulator. The G1000 NXI update in Microsoft Flight Simulator makes it really a lot easier to input a route in Microsoft Flight Simulator than the old G1000 prior to NXI, to the latest version of NXI. And so you might need that. You can get away without any of these prerequisites just by not using GPS at all. In the old days, before GPS, obviously you could not program a GPS. And to fly a route like this, you would have to, the IFR pilots would follow vectors, and they would input vectors, or they would input headings manually for each change, so that they would fly along the route that they wished to fly on. It was much more difficult in the past than it is today with GPS. I would not want to fly under those conditions. I would not want to fly that way. It's just too difficult to do. But with GPS, it's much easier. So this is the route that we're going to take. We want to review it for a moment. We're going to be starting off at in San Diego, here at the San Diego International Airport, and we're going to be following the Seaward 2 SID. You'll notice here that the flight goes directly via direct to heading 275. Well, it is heading 275 to Alt 520, and that is the first waypoint in Seaward 2 that we're going to be flying toward. Then we follow Seaward 2 to the Seal Beach, Los Alamitos transition near Los Angeles. And then from there, we will go direct to the Shell waypoint, which is the first waypoint of our arrival by ILS runway 25R. And that's what we want to duplicate within Microsoft Flight Simulator. So let's go ahead and, before we leave Pilot2ATC, I want to go back and remind you about some settings here that we want to have in Pilot2ATC. If we go to the Flight Plan tab, we want to make sure that ATC assigns SIDS, ATC assigns stars, and ATC assigns approaches are all deselected, and forced pilot runway selection is selected. This will allow us to fly this flight later on without any surprises from ATC. All right, so let's now go to Flight Simulator. And let's first of all, we'll go into the world map and click More and load and save and load. And we'll go ahead and load the plan that we exported in the last video just to see what the route looks like from the export. And this route looks pretty similar to what we have within Flight Simulator and may very well be a match. It is starting at San Diego, obviously, and these waypoints appear to match the waypoints in the Pilot2ATC. Here is the first difference. In Microsoft Flight Simulator, we end up with using the Turndo waypoint as the transition to the ILS approach, whereas in the Pilot2ATC, the Turndo waypoint does not exist. It flies from Seal Beach to Shell directly, and so it misses this. So Microsoft Flight Simulator apparently added this to the flight, and then the rest of it is the same. Let's just go back and make sure. Look at Pilot2ATC. You can see here is the route in Pilot2ATC. It goes directly from Seal Beach to Shell. So it's not an exact one-to-one match. It's pretty close. You could probably fly this route with Pilot2ATC without any difficulty. But let's go back, and I'm going to reset this, and we will just do this from scratch within the cockpit. And so all you really need is to park your aircraft at the airport, at the departure airport, And we'll just go to parking 3, and that's all that you need to get into your airport. Now, I'm going to check my flight conditions because we're going to go from here into the 4th video right after this one, and we're going to use Rex Weather Force for our weather, and so I'm going to set it up on preset, clear skies, live time, live traffic, and I'm going to turn off all the players, and so that they won't bother us. And so that's how we're going to get into the plane. Let's click fly, and we're off to San Diego. And it'll be a moment to get into the cockpit. All right, now that we're at this screen, we can click ready to fly. And we are placed right in the cockpit. Our headsets are off a little bit, correct that. And for the rest of this video, we're going to turn off head tracking and point to the MFD. Of course, the MFD is turned off. In order to have the MFD, we need to turn the battery switch on. There we go. Wait till our GPS is initialized. There, it's showing us now at the San Diego International Airport. And now we want to go into our flight plan menu and set up our flight plan. Just to set it up, the first thing that we do, we need to get this cursor blinking, is to click on the knob, and then the cursor these new, the way these cursors work is, I'm a little bit unfamiliar with this new interface for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I need to left click the knob and then right click, and that's not it. Left click, right click, left click, click. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. I need to move the cursor to there and then click there. And now in this new G1000 NXI, we can use the keyboard. To do that, you get your cursor where you want to enter the data, and then click on this icon right there. I'm not sure what that icon represents, but it will turn on the keyboard. When it is this light blue shade, the keyboard is enabled, and you just simply type in KSAN. And that gets us to that. Now we have to turn the keyboard off, get back into the mouse mode, and click Int. And so there is our first airport. Let's select runway 27, click Int. Now click Int to accept that. So now we have runway 27 as our departure runway, and Kilo Sierra Alpha November as our departure airport. Now let's move our cursor to the destination. Then we'll highlight this knob, click the, and then scroll up to get us to our waypoint information screen. Click on that icon and then type in KLAX. Turn off the keyboard interface, click Int, and we will select runway 25 right and click Int and click Int to accept. And so there is the basic route from origin to the destination. Next, we want to enter our procedures. So we click on the procedure button and we'll select a departure first. We scroll the knob to select departure and click Int. And our departure is going to be seaward, so we scroll the big knob again to seaward 2 and click Int. It asks us for a transition, and we will transition at Seal Beach, if you recall from Pilot2ATC. So we scroll the big knob to SLI and click Int. And the sequence is given here for the SID, and we just now need to scroll down to load and click Int. So that gives us our SID. Now we'll click procedure again. We'll select our approach. We're not going to use a star, so we won't be selecting an arrival, but we do want to select an approach. Click Int, and our approach is going to be ILS 25R. Highlight that, click Int, and our first interesting. The first and it's interesting that it doesn't give us shell. Well, I guess it doesn't give us shell as the as a transition opportunity. We could select vectors and then wait for vectors from ATC, but that will surprise us. So we'll go ahead and select the Turndo IAF, which is the closest we can get. So Seal Beach is going to be here. Turndo will get us to the shell flight. So we could have accepted the plan that Microsoft selected in the world map. After all, we'll click Enter. And I believe that's the closest we can come to match the Pilot2ATC. We could go into Pilot2ATC and add Turndo if we wanted to have an exact one-to-one match, but I don't think this is going to matter. very much. Now we're going to load this. We don't need to activate it at this point. And we'll just load it up. And now let's check check the arrival. Turndo will come in at 5,000 feet. Then at Shell will be at 3,700 feet, and at Fogla will bring us in at 1,900 feet. And in all other places, we should be, each one of these will be at 12,000 feet. I'm going to click enter for that and just see. Okay. Anyway, I believe that is all that we need to do to get this flight plan to be as close a match to Pilot2ATC as we need. Why don't we go in? I'm just going to do this so that we do have a one-to-one match. We'll go back to Pilot2ATC, and in order to add the Turndo waypoint, I'm going to select the Seal Beach and click on waypoint. That should bring up a waypoint dialog box. I'm sorry, click add waypoint. Here we go. And then TRNDO, enter. And that adds the Turndo waypoint between Seal Beach and Shell, and that will be exactly like what we have in the GPS of the Kodiak 100. So sometimes it just takes a little work in both Pilot2ATC and in the simulator to get a flight plan that exactly matches in both cases, and that's what we have here at this point. In our next video, we will come back into the simulator in the cockpit, and we're going to use Rex Weather Force to give us a little bit of weather and fly this course from San Diego to Los Angeles. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.